we get started. First up, we have Taz Roth, who is played by.
Cerulean, and Taz Roth, as always, is the comic relief evil paladin.
Indeed. And next up, we have twin characters, Snake and the Fixer-Upper, played by.
Ryanaga. Snake is a Yuan-Ti sorcerer of the Draconic Persuasion, and Fixer-Upper is a war priest and a half-orc.
Excellent. And next we have Melrath, played by.
Starmy27 is playing Melrath, the Dwarven Eldritch.
Okay. And last but far from least, we have Bob, played by.
That is me, Barska, and he is. Sorry, I'm trying to do the map too. He is a tiefling warlock.
Excellent. Does everybody remember what happened the last time we played?
Yes.
We found a dragon.
You did.
Yeah.
The last time you guys played, you departed the cultist hideout and made your way north through the tunnels, and you found a suspicious door. And behind that suspicious door was a deep gnome, I think it was. No, Darrow, whose name I forget, who was watching over a pit filled with the undead crawling around. And he made reference to another another particular person. And let me see, do I have that person's name? Plinky. And so he took you to talk, or he went to talk to Plinky, and you guys ended up following him. And there we go. And so a battle ensued, and Plinky and Plinky's assistant, what's his name? The surveyor?
The spectator.
Spectator, thank you. The spectator, both ended up perishing in that fight. So at this point, the party has been split because Tristan and the Fixer-Upper walked up to the obelisk and expended a spell slot activating it. Now, the party that's left behind has no idea what happened to them, and they have vanished. For those particular characters, because I can't figure out how to whisper in this, although actually I just had an idea. Let me try this. Did that work?
Boobs?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. I figured out how to whisper. I'll do that in future. Right. So where was I going with this? Right. So the two have found themselves on a plateau overlooking the city. There are some rough-hewn stairs going down from the plateau, taking you down to the cavern floor level, where one would enter into the city of Gracklestug. Now, there's nothing on that platform to allow you to get back, so it would seem that your only option is to hoof it all the way back, assuming that's safe to do.
Didn't someone have like the official scroll from our, I forget her name, but the commander of the guard or whatever that gave us this task?
Yes, but in addition to that, every single person in the party also has a badge, which...
Oh, okay. It's everyone. Thank goodness for that.
Yes. You have an official letter if necessary, like if someone like doesn't respect the badge, as it were. But excuse me, above and beyond that, you do have a letter. So yes, everyone has a badge.
Oh, and it looks like I have the letter from Narak to Droki.
Yes, that is also a necessary piece of evidence.
Oh, good. Because yeah, I'm a little worried about getting back in the city.
Well, that should be all we need, right? To convince what's her butt.
Yes, however, last time I had taken a vote, and the party had said that they wanted to explore the Whirlstone tunnels before departing, and so that's what we had been doing. Would people like to reassess that?
Well, I am of two minds, literally. So I think my character was already against further exploration, Correct me if I'm wrong. So now that one half of my mind disappeared, I would like to go back to what's her name and inform her of what happened.
Taz Roth reluctantly concurs.
So you're saying two members of the party are not worth a little more exploration? You just want to hang down here forever? That's fine. I mean, go for it.
No, I said Tazarath concurs with Snake in that we should probably find the other party members.
Yeah, but reluctantly.
Well, while I don't disagree with the concept that one should try to find the other party members, I'm interested to know how. Because from the perspective of the people down here in this pit, as far as you, like, for all you know, they could have been cast into the abyss.
Yep, we could be dead.
It's a complete mystery. So, like, I support the plan, but what is it the party is doing?
That could serve as an excellent question.
Of course, that's why I asked it.
Well, I've already made my opinion, so if you want to stay down here, that's fine.
I mean, some of the people, assuming there are others down here, might know what happened.
True, that's a point.
And we could go up to what's the guard lady's name that we're on this mission for?
I want to say it's Urki or something.
Wait, we've still got the bat familiar.
Yeah, it's still down here. Although it doesn't do you any good at this particular moment because since
Yeah.
Tristan is over a mile away from it in a direct line,
Oh.
assuming that we goes directly through rock and everything, I'm not sure what happens. I think he's just out of communication with it.
Wait, did Tristan not disappear too?
Tristan
did.
did disappear. That's my
Oh,
point.
But the bat didn't. Yeah.
He has a familiar of an actual bat. That,
right.
Yeah. And his connection to it is based on proximity. The proximity is generally pretty forgiving, being a mile, but the fact that this teleport has taken him further than a mile away means that he can't, for example, see through his bat or control it. For now, it's just a simple bat, until and unless it is returned to him.
I mean, at least we have food. We could roast the bat.
Yeah, I don't think that Tristan would appreciate that. I will let him know you said so.
Dude, we have plenty of mushrooms that taste like feet. Don't worry.
There is feet oatmeal for days.
Do we want to take a vote?
Oh, cool. Yeah, let's well, no. I'm not opposed to the concept of leaving. I just want to know how the hell you guys are going to find each other. That's the issue that we're trying to figure out. So there's nothing to vote on. It's a question of like how are you going to figure out where the other people went and get to them?
Right. My thoughts on voting was either go back to bitch lady who sent us down here or just explore the cave for people who might know.
Well, okay, we can explore the cave for people who might know, but as for returning to the guard lady, technically, the fixer-upper has the letter that you guys thought was going to sort of be sufficient proof. So now
shit.
you're actually lacking an important piece of evidence because he's no longer with you. But you do still have Droki, that could count for something.
We also still have the other, a lizard hide.
What?
The lizard hide letter from Gorglak. Did that go through?
Yeah, that went through.
But I still am not sure how it's relevant
Yeah.
here.
How is it relevant, Chris?
I mean, it's a little bit of evidence in our favor.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Touching random magical obelisks, probably not great. Splitting part.
Right, but that's the situation you literally find yourself in. So what will you do?
Could have been a big reward, by the way. You never know.
I mean, in fairness, the lady was producing like jewelry out of it, so it wasn't completely unreasonable at the time.
Maybe they turned into jewelry.
Also a possibility. Although you see no jewelry in the area to support such suppositions.
Well, given that Fixer Upper has a letter, which we ascertain now that is concerning for returning to her. I mean, I don't know how much a shrunken what is his name, Droki, is worth.
Yeah, true, true. He is
Droki
also
and the
quite
Jaro.
insane.
Yeah. So maybe we would need to search around here for more evidence.
That's my vote.
Yeah. I'm a yeah. Yeah, whatever Taz Roth said.
Okay. What are you guys gonna
Um,
do about and for Snake?
well, leaving aside
What's
making a reference to whiskey in the jar, I'm going to do a.
what's wrong with
I've
Snake?
got a bunch of charges that Snake's hurt.
Badly.
I've got that ointment. I'm going to use one of those doses of ointment on Snake.
Okay, make sure you mark off the charge before you roll the dice.
Did so.
Okay.
2d8 plus 2.
Yeah, you can add the +2 modifier below before you roll the dice. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Thanks.
here. I have to do a teeny bit of math.
Wait a minute. Here's a
Oh.
crazy idea. What if we all run up and touch the obelisk?
Well, the only reason the obelisk did anything is because someone pushed the power of a spell slot into it. So you can run up and touch it, but it won't do anything.
Ah.
And yeah, would you really want to be in that situation where two of the party members could have been sent off in the abyss and just be like, "Oh, let's follow them."
Well, I mean,
I
at least
mean,
you'd all be
hey,
together, and
Yeah, we could all be dead together.
yeah, that's true.
Well, no, we wouldn't anyway, because only the people with spell slots.
Oh no, that's not true. If anyone who's touching the obelisk when
Yeah,
a
you just have
spell
to be
slot
near it.
is expended upon it will be teleported.
Yeah, but we can't see that. So I guess from our point
You
of
were
view,
aware of it beforehand. You were aware that expending a spell slot into the obelisk would have an effect on anyone touching the obelisk. That was what you were able to decipher. What the effect was is unknown. And the two characters that were touching it from the perspective of the people standing around watching them, they simply vanished. And as a result, like, you're uncertain, were they annihilated? Were they teleported? Did they cross this plane into another plane? Are they invisible? Those are all possibilities because you had no idea what the effect of the obelisk would be before activating it.
if they were invisible, wouldn't they shout to us?
Well, no one's actually said anything yet. Like, in theory, they could still be standing there invisible and not speaking.
Hello, 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 hello.
Right.
Yeah, no one's there. That possibility is eliminated, but that's my point, right?
Right.
And had I been able to activate the whisper at the time, I would have left it a mystery, and no one would have known except for the people that were affected. And yes, there are people with spell slots here and available now. So yeah, you could all just go follow them. And in fact, the entire party could go along in this fashion.
you
Who
know
wants
what?
a new character?
Screw it. Let's just do that. Does Sarath have a spell slot to burn, or can I just do that?
Seraph does not have spell slots.
It was worth a shot. All right. Let's get everybody next to the obelisk and.
Okay, everybody who has a character here, which I think is technically everyone as well, is not present. If you're going to touch the obelisk, check mark. And no, there are no extras. Everyone can touch the obelisk, even the NP
It's just one spell
non-player
slot, and then
characters.
everyone
Yes.
can go.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if the entire party has decided you're leaving,
I'm
then
not sure this is rational, but I guess I'm being outvoted. So okay,
Are we taking the dragon egg with us?
sure, why not?
Okay.
Actually, Melrath brings up a good point. Should we tell Fargus to go back?
Well, they can all come with us.
yeah, that's
They could.
yeah, anyone touching the obelisk. So if you want them to
Yeah.
come with you, you just say so. You don't
Right,
even have
Stop
to
worrying
move
about the
them.
spell slots, guys. It's taken care of.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone has decided the best thing to do is whatever happens,
Nate, get over here.
everyone should be annihilated together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm reluctantly agreeing to be annihilated.
you can stay by yourself.
yeah, here's Snake. He's barely touching the obelisk, like with a finger. In protest, that's how that goes. Okay,
You
so
guys are stupid.
the end result is going to be that everyone suddenly is whisked away. You feel a jerking motion, and then when the world snaps back into focus, you find yourself atop a dusty plateau. You also find yourself across from Tristan and Fixer Upper, who looked very confused because they are presently on the ground. When the rest of the party showed up, they suddenly took up an awful lot of space, shunting the Fixer Upper and Tristan like about 4 or 5 feet in different directions, causing them to fall over onto their faces.
And taking 60 damage, correct?
0 damage, fortunately.
Oh.
Yeah, no, just your ego.
I wanted to make a new character. Sorry.
At least we're not dead.
Yeah, we're not dead.
Woo.
Telefragging.
Yeah.
It was a port key, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. So at this point, everybody has found themselves overlooking Gracklestug. It's kind of a nice view, except for all the smog and the fact that none of the buildings are really all that pleasing to look at. But yeah, So here you are. Everybody's together. What now?
Well, we got our letter. We got Droki, right?
Hmm.
So we'll just try and
Eriday, that's her name. Yeah, we'll go see
Eriday?
Eriday.
Can
Eriday.
anyone
Yeah.
teleport?
No, no, that's a couple ways away for.
Well, Snake has Misty Step, but that's not a full-on teleport.
No, that's a short range blink.
Mhm.
Teleport goes like miles. Anyways,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So let me pull up the appropriate. Let's see here. This
I
is
was gonna
it.
say, do you have a full map?
Well, I have the map of Gracklestug. I can just pull that up.
Are you
Sharing.
allowed to show us where we are?
You guys. Well, I'll try. Pointers. Draw a circle. And you guys are roughly here. It doesn't really show on this map, but I have a sense of where I felt that you should be. So, anyways, you guys are roughly there, so you can oversee that particular gate that's closest to you. It looks like solid rock, but in this case, it's a plateau. So, you guys climb down from the plateau. You'll have to go single file, and you have to take it kind of slowly because the steps are just they're not great steps. And you make it all the way down to the bottom.
And we're trying to carry a dragon egg down too.
Is it big?
Is it big?
You know, the dragon egg kind of concerns me. I mean, what are the guards gonna?
Yeah, actually, this is a really important thing because nobody
Yeah.
mentioned this until this second. This is a 4-foot tall, 3-foot diameter egg weighing 180 pounds.
Yeah. Maybe we should leave that out.
Nobody even tried to talk about how they picked it up. So I am very sorry, but if you want that egg, I'm going to make your ass march all the way back down there and get it. Because that's beyond the pale.
I think we'll
fuck
leave it because, well, could we get in a lot of trouble for trying to bring that in? I don't know. Just there are different factions that.
The significance of the egg, if people do not remember from last time,
Yeah,
is that there is a red dragon whose name is Thembershoud. And Thembershoud is called the Wormsmith. And he is called such because he stokes all of the forges throughout the city with magical dragon fire, which allows them to achieve very high melting temperatures, which lets them work with adamantine, and do other metallurgical things that would be impossible for other cities and beings to do. So he has an entire retinue of devoted Darugar servants who follow him around or sorry, not him, follow
Yeah, I
her
was going to
around
say.
and attend to all of her needs, and occasionally service impromptu snacks. But they are a literal cast of the city. Like there is a lot of like prestige to be had in fulfilling this particular role. So that someone stole Thembershout's egg and you do not have an adequate explanation for why you have it might be a very dangerous thing.
And if they have a lot of influence, then the guards that we're about to interact with may count among their ranks friends. So yeah, that might be pretty dangerous.
They would, in fact, in many instances, report to the Keepers of the Flame if there was a
Okay.
particular need for them to do so. They can give orders to the city guard, because the city guard is also a significant bone of the army. They aren't just guards; they are actual military professionals. So,
I think
anyways,
we need to leave that.
yeah. Besides, really, a 4 foot tall, 3 foot
Yeah.
diameter egg weighing
It's not like we're hiding
140
it.
pounds is going to be really difficult for you guys to successfully move. Not impossible, but just more so than glossing over, oh, we brought it with us. So moving on.
Okay.
You guys entered into the city. Um, the guards at the front gate are different from the guards that saw you initially, and to your great surprise, they actually don't hassle you at all. You all have your badges showing. They glance up, they see those, and they open the door without a word. They don't even bother to question you. You make your way into the city, and actually, you find that you get a surprising amount of deference. Like the last time you had these things on, you were running through the city and kind of like barreling your way through, and people were understandably like in your way. But now that you're just sort of walking through, people see the badge, and no one crowds you. They're very orderly crowds, a flow of traffic like one would have in a sidewalk in New York City. And despite your size and stature, you blend into it for the most part and make your way to the Overlake Hold. So, here, let's see here. I found Erdy's section. Let me just check. Okay. Okay. You enter into Overlake Hold, and there is a sergeant at the front desk. This is a seat of government, but it also functions as a major police station for the city, as it were. Um, the guard at the front desk looks up, sees your badges, um, and he raises an eyebrow, but he doesn't say anything.
We should probably say something.
Yes, yes, in fact, that is my thought. Yep. Yeah, good wisdom check there.
We're here to see Eriday.
He stifles a laugh. She's right up that stairs. Go up, make a left, then a right, then a left, then a left, then a right, and then turn around 3 times, and you'll find her.
That was helpful.
Indeed. So, anyways, you go upstairs, follow those directions, and to your great surprise, you do in fact manage to find the same interrogation room that you found yourselves in when Erday first brought you in. Erday's
Up, down, down, left, right, left, right. Up. A, B, select, start.
yes. Erede is not in the room at present, so when you do go into the room, guards close the door behind you, and you're left kind of standing there for a minute, uncertain what exactly to do. But 2 or 3 minutes later, the door opens up again. Erede comes inside. She closes the door, and then she takes a quick glance around the room, seeing that no one is present. Um, she she activates something the equivalent of a lever hidden in the wall. Um,
Cool.
Actually, it's more like a piece of stone that slides up and down. She slides it to a down position, and all of the cells that contain prisoners of mostly foreigners, non Daragar, Darrow, other Underdark races, Drow, so on and so forth. All of those cells go black and quiet, and the door itself takes on this very slight shimmer to it. Um, and she turns to you with her face set. I trust that you have news.
We do indeed. We've been exploring some of the tunnels, the Wallstone tunnels. And we have a prison
Yeah, Droki in a jar.
jerky in a jar.
We also have a letter, which Fixer Upper produces.
As well as the location of the corpse of Narak and his minor cult.
I'm sorry, I don't quite follow.
Well, we can tell her where in the caves we fought Narak and the two-headed things, right?
Yes, yes. So, are you going to show her Droki? She doesn't understand what you mean by Droki in a bottle. She assumes it's some sort of metaphor.
Well, the letter references Narak and Droki, and then I guess.
Well, I mean, we have Droki in a jar. Let's just, bring out...
Bring out the Droki.
Yes, I give her the jar with Droki in it.
You pull out a jar from your backpack and you place it on into her hands, and she looks down in quite startled amazement to see, the 1 foot tall Droki, kind of scrunched up a bit in this jar, um, and she looks in there and she looks back at you and says, "He looks a little blue. Could you maybe have given him more than one air hole?" And then she places him on the table. But I suppose I wanted him alive or dead, and this is somewhere in the middle, so I'll take it. So, Narak and this giant summoning circle you mentioned, uh, is it still operational?
No, we disrupted it. We're not leaving demonic magic like that.
Good, good. Um, did you tell anybody else what you found?
We went straight to you.
I see. And did
I'm
you take anything else
I'm going
from...
to roll insight.
Okay. You got a 15. Let me roll her opposed check. Okay.
Because in movies, whenever somebody says, "Did you tell anyone else?" that's...
They're about to kill you.
Yeah.
Um,
So I'm just making sure.
okay. So you're specifically trying to determine if there is murderous intent in this moment.
Correct.
Okay. In this moment, you sense no murderous intent.
Okay, good.
Okay. So, you... I'm sorry, I got thrown off by that. I'm trying to recollect where I was. So she... Oh, did you bring me back anything else from the scene of this demonic circle?
Did we get those statues of
No, you
Dorgan?
left them there because you were going to come back when you were done exploring.
That's true.
Oops.
Our exploration of the caves were cut short when we found a obelisk which teleported these two of our party out of the caves, and the rest of us followed shortly.
Wait, they transported you out of the cave. How far did you go?
Um, can we draw her of the part of the tunnels that we've seen?
No, 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 no. You misunderstand the question. You were
Oh,
transported out of the tunnels to where?
do you see that plateau outside of town?
You point in the general direction of it. It's not visible from here.
Okay, it's outside the third eastern gate.
I
Did I?
see. Uh, was there anything at the teleportation location?
We should absolutely tell her because they need to recover, like, now.
I don't understand.
So,
You mean tell her about the egg?
yes.
I don't know. I mean,
Actually,
hmm.
hold on a second. I've got you right here. That sounds like time for a vote. Check, you tell her about the egg. X, you don't mention it.
Is there a role that I can do on Insight, or
To determine if you should tell her or not.
just more of like a general um a role just to see if she's being deceptive with her questioning, something like that.
I could always
Sure,
detect thoughts
you
too.
can always do well. First of all, magic is an extraordinarily obvious thing. If you cast right in front of her, she's going to know you're casting. It's not going
Oh
to be a
yeah,
question
right.
about it. And she's the captain of the guard, so with no announced statement, you're just going to cast a magical spell right in front of her when she's sealed off
Okay,
the room.
okay,
Okay.
that's not gonna work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
But I can roll Insight.
Yes, you can absolutely roll insight.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Okay. Let me roll her counter check. Let's see what she gets. Okay. Um,
Net 20.
she she is very much turning over the information in her head. You can actually see it written all over her face. She's thinking through possibilities. She's thinking through meaning. Um, she perked up when it was mentioned that you were transported outside of the city and became very focused when you said, and it wasn't very far. And so she seems
Hmm.
to be thinking something about this obelisk in relation to the fact that you found a demonic cult
Mm-hmm.
that she hasn't said anything about yet.
Mm.
Also, keep in mind she only told us to go figure out what Droki's doing.
Right, and
So
this revealed and confirmed a lot of her suspicions, you know?
yeah, we could just say, without being too rude, we've done
There
what you
were
asked.
there were at least two separate groups working down there, by the way, and they were not always on the most polite of terms.
They were separate groups?
Um, Narak's cult seemed to be separate from
Plinky,
whoever the
Plinky.
Plinky. Yeah.
group was who she was investigating the obelisk. She also had some undead at her disposal. We would recommend caution indeed.
Okay. That's very confusing. But I can always send a contingent of guards down there. Um, well, we can collect some of the other evidence. In fact, she starts to tap her chin and then she starts to stroke her beard in contemplation.
Beautiful.
And
You're gorgeous.
she suddenly snaps her fingers. She's just like, "This is perfect. This is perfect. Okay, I need you to leave." And I don't just mean leave this building, I mean leave town. If I can arrange a caravan to take you wherever you're headed next in the next 2 hours, would you get on it?
Yes. Let's get the hell out of here, guys.
Yep, we've been here
I-
long enough.
Yeah, I'm tired of this place.
So,
Mhm.
where are you headed so I can find an appropriate caravan?
Okay, let's.
Mm,
What are our
let's
options here?
check.
Um,
We were headed to like Blingdenstone, right? Deep
Oh,
Gnome City.
actually, hold on a second. I know I have a certain map, but I'm not sure if I have it on my. Is it under Shift? No. Is it
I'm
under
not sure
Control?
about that
No.
actually. I thought we were going somewhere else.
You might be. I'm trying to find the map for all of
Okay.
Found
Yeah, I
it.
think
Underdark.
we had postponed an argument over where to go next till we
Right.
got through here.
So give me just a second. I'm gonna locate it. Out of the Abyss maps. Out of the Abyss. Where is it? Trying to.
I think it was DM Sword Coast. I'm seeing something
Oh
that's mostly covered.
man, there was actually a map for the obelisk room, like one with an actual
Oh,
grid and everything. Well, that sucks. I mean, it wasn't as
let's just do it
important
over
to.
again.
Yeah, yeah. Let's fight
Got
that
it.
again. Glintstone tunnel.
We'll bring the egg with
construction.
us.
I think it must be under the under the DM's maps. Out of the advanced DM's map. Is this it? No, that is not it. Interesting that that map exists, though.
Alex, I think it's DM Sword Coast.
Yeah, it is. I found it.
Yay.
Okay, so sharing. Okay, so yeah, I did as much as I could to obscure things. I don't know why I unobscured these weird corner pieces over here, but let me enter the mask mode, and then I can go like, okay, let me try. There we go, and
Okay.
I
then
think you were trying to show distance or something.
there we go.
One of those was the
Remember.
major city on the coast, and the other one was
Oh,
the
Neverwinter
mines
Nights.
of.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
and the other was the mines of Fandelver,
yes.
which our party would not know about.
Right. Okay, I do remember why they were revealed. They don't need to be any further. It was for that session. So, anyways, you're currently located in Gracklestug on the edge of Dark Lake. Neverwinter Grove was a possible location for you to head next, and you also were considering headed to Blingdenstone. I think because I have two groups running the same thing, so forgive me if I've mixed up my info, but I think that part of what you had heard was that someone in Blingdenstone was trading with surface world objects, and that might mean that they have access to the surface world from Blingdenstone. However, I know it's a little hard to tell, and exactly, but if you look at the Dark Lake, you kind of have to go up and then away from it a little bit to get to the Neverlight Grove, or you could go up and sort of hug it, and then you would be able to go north about halfway across the Dark Lake and then up to Blingdenstone. Or if you're going to go by sea, you can get into another boat, get back onto the Dark Lake, go all the way up until you come to the shore that you'd have to get off of in order to go to Blingdenstone.
And what was Sloopdildop again?
Soldaldop is the site uh where what's his name?
That's where,
Demogorgon
yeah.
landed, and you also
Oh,
you lost some party members, and Seraph made out with the fishmen.
that's where it was familiar from. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Remember that
okay,
giant thing that we unleashed? Mm-hmm.
The Prince
yeah.
of Demons, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the argument we had
So
postponed
maybe
was
going across
Neverlight
the lake.
Grove or Blinkenstone. Okay.
That and how to get there,
Right.
because just yeah, Chris just brought up maybe go across the lake. So
I mean,
The lake that has a giant demon monster in it. Last we knew.
Well, it's a big lake. It's a big demon too.
you just contradicted yourself. Does it make any sense to swing up to Neverlight and then go to Blingdenstone?
Yeah, there was a reason that we were
Stool.
interested in that.
Neverlight is like one of the most good cities, right? Or was that Blingdenstone?
Blingdenstone, but technically Neverlight. The Myconids that live there are, I believe, true neutral or lawful neutral. And actually, I could pull one up real quick and take a quick peek.
Is Stool still with us?
Mhm.
He's just
Okay.
he has no ability to participate in combat, so he doesn't show up on the map ever.
We didn't accidentally eat like his family with those mushrooms, did we?
Not that you know of.
Okay.
Hold on a second. And then I check the DMG here. Lawful neutral. So considering that most species of the Underdark hinge on an axis of evil, neutral evil, lawful evil, or chaotic evil, um, finding someone that's lawful neutral is actually like a good step in the right direction for you.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. Was there a trying to remember when you broke down Neverlight Grove, if there was some sort of piece of info that you gave us that I'm
Oh,
not remembering.
I do remember. What I was trying to tell you was the following.
Okay.
Neverlight Grove is actually a hidden enclave of the Myconid population. It's one of their largest settlements. And the Myconids are, generally speaking, friendly to travelers, but they're aware of just how evil a lot of these other Underdark species are. And so, as a result, uh, how do I put this? The they're friendly to travelers, but they've had instances where like they let a drow in and then the drow like attacks and murders the city, right? So they they are more cautious with visitors now. The Myconids are very strange species, and they have some really foreign concepts. They have a very foreign societal structure. So the other important thing is that because Neverlight Grove is very hidden, um, Stool was born there, as it were. And as a result, he can at all times tell you the direction and exact distance down to the mile of your current location in relation to Neverlight Grove.
Hmm.
He can, without fail, lead you there.
And could he smooth it over with the locals a bit?
Yeah. I mean, if you're returning a Myconid child, which is what you have, uh, there, that's going to it is uncertain exactly how they're going to react. On the one hand, you're returning a Myconid unharmed and have gone out of your way to do so. On the other side of things, they don't know you from Adam, so they kind of have to take you at your word. But I mean, like, if Stool vouches for you and says that you're telling the truth, as long as you are in fact telling the truth, then you should probably be okay. Exactly.
Stool's taught me how to see music, so he's a bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of curious about Neverlight Grove, but I also understand if you guys just want to skip it and go faster to Blinging Stone.
That's kind
Here-
of my vote too,
You don't
because
really care? Okay.
returning him might kind of figure out or help us figure out how we got in that cage in the first place. But
I mean, here's one of the other factors. If we are joining a caravan out of town, will we have to tell them where the grove is?
So here's the answer to that question, because that's an excellent question. What you would do is you would tell them the general distance and direction that you're headed. You don't have to say where to, but just I'm headed north-northwest, say 92 miles. That's what it looks like it's about from Blinkton's or from Gracklestugh. And they would, if a caravan is headed in that direction, they will take you as far along that route to that destination as they can, and then would let you out, and you would uh, hoof it the rest of the distance.
Right, but even giving any hint of the grove to the authorities in Gracklestugh might put the grove at risk.
Right, but at the same time, what I'm saying is when you tell Erde where you're going, we are going northwest of here 92 miles. Is there a caravan that is going in that general direction, yes or no? And she'll say,
Well,
oh, why, yes, there's a particular mining caravan. We'll let you off when you want to get off.
let's say that we're going to Blingdenstone and then just leave the caravan nearby.
I don't know. I don't know if that's stranger.
Chris, my confusion is I don't understand why you think that saying that you want to go in a specific distance and direction would tell them you're going to Neverlight Grove.
Well, it wouldn't tell them that we're going to Neverlight Grove, but it would tell them that there's something interesting right about.
Okay.
I mean, they don't know where we're going though. It could be something
So,
not that interesting.
so they'll investigate and wind up finding the Myconids. Taz
Are
Roth in character doesn't
Oh,
give a shit, but
oh, let me back this up for you then. Here, when I said that it was hard to find Neverlight Grove, there is a hidden entrance. And only because you have stool are you capable of finding it.
And are there like mining villages or things that aren't on the map that are just smaller in terms of settlements?
So, in terms of settlements, there are other settlements that are on the map that I am not showing you. There are also smaller settlements.
Okay.
So, for example, let me try putting it this way. If you tell them you're going to Blingdenstone, there will be a caravan that will take you to Blingdenstone. Okay?
Directly.
Pretty much.
Hmm.
Because that's a major city
Right.
and it's a trade point for Gracklstugh. So, like major cities that Gracklstugh trades with. Um, I'm looking on the map. Blingdenstone is, of course, one of them. Menzo Baronzen and a city called Mantle Dareth.
Well, if we want to draw less attention to ourselves, like Chris suggests, then we should just say Blingdenstone, I guess.
Right, but my point is that like the caravan will not actually go to Neverlight Grove. It will cross the water
Hmm.
and then connect with the land and go north from the shore. So you'll bypass Neverlight Grove altogether because it won't go over land.
Hmm. Uh,
uh,
well,
so let's say that we'd prefer to take an overland caravan just because of what we saw on the lake previously.
I think that'll still take us directly there. I mean, if if Alex says they have direct trading routes, then they're not going to stop anywhere else. I
I
don't
think we
know.
should just go to Blingdenstone. We can always go back to Neverlight Grove another time.
Okay.
Okay. Um, hmm. Let me think about how I want to. Oops. Wait, what is? Oh, because that's another thing. Whew, sorry about that. Huh. I actually prepared Neverlight Grove because I thought that's where you were going. So
Okay, we'll go that way then. Sorry.
appreciate it. Sorry about that. I would
All you
normally.
had to do was say something. We're on the same team ultimately, right?
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Let me just grab a piece of paper. Um, so, uh,
Uh,
no, I don't need that. Where's the notes that I put together
that
for
was
this?
the equivalent of Chris's character getting stuck in a trap for the day. Exactly.
The only
Blingdenstone is not
person.
yet ready to be loaded.
Yeah, yeah. Huh. Nope, that's not it either. Is it underneath this thing? I'm pretty sure I vaguely remember what the notes were about, so I think I'll just go with what I remember. Yeah, that's a different set of notes. Okay, so the air day manages to set you up with a caravan that is bringing mining supplies to an outpost. Sorry
Hello.
about that. Yeah, uh, I stretched a little too far, pulled out the microphone.
Oh.
So there is a caravan that is headed out towards a mining outpost
Mm.
outside of the city.
Okay.
It's going in the general direction of where you think you need to be headed. Oh, I think I found it. I found it.
Sounds nice and safe. We're not giving anything away, Chris. It's okay.
Hold on a second. Critical Stoog. No, that's actually not it. Yay. So anyways, it's headed out in the direction of this mining caravan. And the Erode also makes certain after she goes off, makes the arrangement, comes back, and she wants to make certain that you guys are very clear on a couple of things. First of all, she wants you to know that it is really important that you don't talk to anybody on your way outside of the city. And the
Mhm.
reason for this is because whether against your will, you have become political tools of Erday, as it were.
Mhm.
She's going to be bringing some evidence against people that are powerful and that she thinks need to be put away. And so, as a result, um, are those? Nope. As a result, if anybody stops you and interrogates you, they may be able to formulate something against her maneuverings, and it could go very badly for her. So as a result, she wants to make sure, nobody says a word so that she has the element of surprise.
Did
Um,
she maybe load us with a cover story, or are we just supposed to make up with something on the fly in case we get interrogated?
well, actually, her plan is she's going to have you escorted there, um, and have you sort of appear as prisoners to anybody who happens to sort of be glancing in your direction.
Okay.
Um, and when you get to the caravan, the entire party will have its very own specific, well, caravan, a cart, wagon, whatever you want to call it, that you're going to be in. And while you're inside of it, everybody else is going to be guarding you. Nobody in the caravan, knows who you are, just that Erday said to take you along and let you out when you want to get out.
Okay.
So, just don't really talk to them too much and stay inside. The caravan itself, the wagon, is windowless, so no one will be able to look in from the outside. And it, whew, there we go. I think I've got stuff. Um, I'm just trying to get to a specific page. Sorry for the delay. I thought I had everything right here, and then I didn't. Right, I remember. Okay. So you get to the caravan. Um, it you guys are shackled, but the shackles aren't even locked. So they're mostly just kind of on because they were closed and the hinges are a bit sticky. Um, there. Hinges are a bit sticky. So you get inside of the caravan. Everybody just kind of shucks off the shackles. There's actually a fair amount of food in here. You guys are going to be on the caravan for, I think she said 3 days, based on the notes that I made up.
Hmm.
It, anyways, you have your own food supplies. You have your own water supplies in here. There is an outhouse room in the caravan, so you never actually need to leave it. The caravan is covered by an assortment of about 6 guards that you can see. Um, there are a large number of miners who are serving all different sorts of functions in terms of moving around, moving around the beasts, moving
Wait,
around
miners like children or miners? Miners.
Miners.
earthen miners.
Okay.
Yes, yes, because this is a mining outpost they're headed to. So they move everything around, and you take off, and it is actually really uneventful. There isn't an awful lot that happens over the course of the journey. It's nice and quiet, um, and there comes a point where there comes a point where Stool perks up and he says, "This is it. This is the closest we've come. Let us out here." So everybody in the party gets all your belongings together, packs everything back into your bags. It's a
Mhm.
shame. You'd actually kind of come to enjoy the bunk beds that they had. They were surprisingly comfortable. They were large enough for you, but only just. But you didn't feel claustrophobic. So it was nice to have, a couple days of rest and relaxation. And you open up the wagon doors. The wagon doesn't actually slow down at all. You just kind of jump out and you find yourself, um, you know, out in the Underdark. And they just travel along. You were the last cart. There weren't any guards back here, so they just leave, and the doors kind of waggling open, and they make their way off into the distance. And you take a second to take in your surroundings. You are atop a cliff, not a stark cliff, but one about 30 feet high, and it overlooks a pretty large cavern. And the the cliff that you're on is kind of shaped in a U shape. There's one tunnel that you presumably came into, and another tunnel that that the caravan has moved out of. Um, Stool indicates that you need to go through this cavern down to the cave floor, and then out through the back. There's an exit, and that's the direction that you're going to be headed into. Okay.
Mhm.
So as you are looking out over this cavern floor, trying to figure out how you're going to get down there, you do see that there's a couple of different stairs. Oh yeah, I should do that. Thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome.
Long rest, long rest, long rest, long rest, and long rest. Close, 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 close. Perfect. So anyways, you find that there's a slope that will lead down to the cave floor. It's a bit steep, but it's not going to be any real trouble for you to get down. But when you do finally locate that, at that point, the fixer-upper kind of tugs on Bob's sleeve, and he points out into the distance, and there's a cloaked figure. Now, on the cave floor, there is a lot of fungi and lichen that is sort of spread out. And in the center, it all kind of slopes down towards a stream that travels the entire length of this, all the way back from where you need to go up to where you are currently, and then it kind of goes underneath this cliff somewhere. But there's
Mm.
there's a decent sized stream. It's about 4 feet across, and the atmosphere here is fairly humid, fairly wet. So lots of fungi and lichen are growing, and some of them have some mild bioluminescence. And as a result, you can see this cloaked figure making his way from the direction that you need to head and towards your cliff. Now, he has his hood up, or she has their hood up, and you can't really tell anything about them from this distance except that they're humanoid. They have 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. And they haven't spotted you yet either, because the hood is one of those that comes way down over the front of your face. So unless they lift their head way up, they're not going to be able to see anything directly in front of them. And certainly not directly in front of them and up, which is the angle that you guys are in relation to this person. What will you do?
Hmm.
And Stool's not of any use for this, I assume, right?
Well, he has to get someone close enough to inhale his spores to allow telepathic contact. So the distance
Oh,
is a
okay.
factor. Now, this
Hmm.
creature is a good. You've spotted them about 120 feet away from you, because the fixer-upper has a very high passive perception.
Hmm. It's a pretty strange location for this humanoid to be about.
Well,
So he's
actually,
further than 30 feet, correct?
Yeah.
much further.
Okay.
And actually, if you would like a hint or additional information, anyone in the party may roll a wisdom check.
Hey,
Okay.
Wisdom check. Narrowly avoided a nat 1.
Good job.
I'm just going to wait and see if anybody else rolls. It's unlikely to get much higher than an 18, but just in case. Oh, there you
Ha!
go.
Wow. What a
Wow.
beast.
So the fixer-upper Bob and Snake kind of come to the same conclusion at the same moment, namely that, yeah, it is an odd location to see a random traveler moving about. Sure, people move around through the Underdark all the time, but A, you don't normally run into them because the Underdark is a very big place. And B, you guys are in a party. That is the only way that you left that fucking city. It is really fucking strange for a single individual to be wandering around the caverns of the Underdark unless they have a death wish or they're extremely powerful.
Hmm.
It is
Could
not
we
wise to go it alone.
could we eat mushrooms and
Ah,
observe him at a small distance?
I'm not sure how changing your size will help you in this instance. He hasn't spotted you yet either, so the only reason that you're aware of him is because the fixer-upper has really good sight, and he pointed it out to the rest of the party.
is there any cover we can take? I'm not quite sure on the environment.
Well,
Well,
is he coming? Is he coming directly towards us?
he's coming directly towards the cliff. So if you're thinking of the cliff in the U shape, sort of the elbow of the U shape, that's where you guys are. To the right side of that elbow, that's where the slope comes up and connects to the cliff plateau thing that you're on, right? So he's coming directly towards the U shape of the elbow, not towards sort of the right arm of it. I know that's a little confusing, but I also am limited in what I can show you in terms of maps.
So he's coming more directly towards us than towards up.
Yes, yes. Now, again, his hood is way down over his face, so he's probably just sort of walking until he sees the cliff itself, and then he may, try to deal with that particular earthen impediment.
Let's go over to the side around to where the ramp is and see if he keeps making a beeline towards us.
Okay. Now, the other thing is, because Brett was asking about any cover, there actually isn't any cover up here. Um, But one of the other things that you could do is use the height to your advantage. And if everyone was to go prone, basically lie on their belly, you could sort of like have your heads poking over the top of the cliff, and it would give you a very low profile. There's not an awful lot of light in here. The light level's pretty low, and all of it is on the cave floor because of all the fungi that are down there. Only some of which are bioluminescent. So,
Quick question. As far as cover is concerned, what is the primarily? Is it primarily stone, or is it moldable enough earth that I can create some barriers?
it's exclusively stone.
Worth a shot.
Yeah, worth a shot. I encourage creative casting. Um,
What if we shrunk down and then when he got close enough, I could chat with him telepathically?
that's always an option, yes.
I want to throw those mushrooms off the cliff.
Tired of feet mushrooms?
Okay, so it
Yeah, we
sounds like the only two plans so far are to go prone and to shrink down. Is that accurate?
No, I just dropped with the word.
What was it? Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
The worst option, but
Well, if he's
Wait,
really powerful, if he loves us, that might be very beneficial.
Yeah, now
Let's see if
who will be the target of his love?
Snake, don't you have suggestion?
Yeah.
Or if he's
Well, if it
powerful,
if
he
it
could
if it
probably resist
goes
it, couldn't he?
Yeah.
if it goes not in your direction, that's always an option.
Clearly, it'll be Sereth.
Sarah is the lover.
Not the fighter.
Okay, but what will you do? Do I need to take a vote?
So how does prestidigination work?
I can make the filter taste differently or appear differently for up to.
Yeah, so you just have to convince a stranger to drink something they've never seen before from people they've never met before.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work.
I don't know. I like the shrinking and embiggening ambush plan.
Well, if you guys want to try out the shrinking plan, one of the other things that you could do, down in the floor of the cavern, there's a couple of fungi that would be at or a little bit taller than your height. So you could effectively hide amongst them. And then because Bob naturally has telepathy through his patron, you could be sort of down amongst the fungi and sort of spread out. And I would remind you that any physical fighters will be at a disadvantage because the shrink spell reduces the weapon's damage die. So if you roll a d6, you would then roll a d4. But anybody that uses magic would be at no disadvantage whatsoever because magic is not affected by your size. So as a result, you might be able to, use magic to sort of ambush this person and kill them if they're hostile or something to that effect. Does that sound about right?
The telepathy is pretty nice, I have to admit.
Well, it also
Yeah.
sounds like we're not going to kill him too if he's wandering alone. He's probably too powerful for us.
It's
Right.
possible. I mean, technically, there's one other option that you guys haven't considered yet, which I'm just going to state for the sake of obviousness. You could just say hello. I mean, it's not a phenomenal plan because there's a lot that could go wrong with it, but it is an option.
That's what you want us to do.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, the first thing that I suggested is what I would say I wanted you to do. You can do whatever the fuck you want, though.
I mean, we did run forward and touch this random obelisk earlier.
Uh-huh, yeah. I'm fine with whatever plan you want to do. Just decide on something. So I'm going to set up a vote. Okay.
Oh,
Check.
an Underdark druid? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, because this is where, like, I guess their equivalent of a forest.
Well,
Yeah.
I understand what Eric's saying. Let me give you guys a little more information that is available in the PHB. So druids have a path that allows them to bond with the land. That's one of their options.
Underdark is one option.
Yes. Underdark is a biome, which means that all of the Underdark, no matter what the terrain is actually like, whether there's a forest, whether it's just dry caverns,
Oh,
you
okay.
bond with the Underdark as a whole. But Eric is right that a druid that has a bond with the Underdark could be making it around by themselves and be perfectly fine, uh, considering the other monsters and effects, because they would have, handle animal, they would have knowledge of the area. So if it's a druid, it actually could be a really good thing, assuming that they themselves are good or at least amenable to being bribed.
Yeah, I vote for hello. I don't want to shrink again.
Okay, so check for hello. X if you want to shrink down and try to talk to him from relative safety.
Oh, that
Okay?
reminds me, Alex, I can delete Droki in a bottle from my inventory, right?
Yes, yes you can. Droki is long gone.
Before we forget.
Goodbye.
I can get rid of
So
the wizard hide letter too.
here's
right?
an important question. Yes, you can. The important question is at this moment he's about 80 feet away from you. He's moved 40 feet in the time we've been sort of discussing this. How far away do you want him to be when you say hello?
That's a good question.
And I bring this up because, one of the first things Kyle asked is he within 30 feet of us? The reason Kyle asked is because it's relevant for spells. So how close do you want to let him get?
We could just use thaumaturgy and
Oh no,
shout,
you
right?
can shout right now. He'll hear you. He can
Okay.
hear you from 80 feet away if you guys all sort of shout and wave.
He's probably, if I had to guess, he's probably a spellcaster. So it might be more advantageous to let him get closer, because some of us would prefer to be melee. Just a thought.
Also a fair point. Also, to Brett's suggestion, in the event that he was hostile, if you were in melee range, or at least could get into melee range, he would then only be able to cast spells that use a saving throw without disadvantage. Any ranged attacks like Searing Ray would be at disadvantage because he would be in melee combat with someone.
Yeah, I think we should let him get a little closer.
Do you guys want to head
I
down to
agree.
the cavern floor then?
He can't see us up here. We should wait for him to come.
Okay. Does everyone agree?
Um,
So I'm sorry, we're up on like a plateau or something?
Yeah, you're on a cliff that's about 30 feet high.
Ah.
There is a slope that goes all the way down to the cavern floor. It's to your right, and it's a little steep, but you can get up and down it without straining yourself too much. And so, if he gets here, there's no other way up onto this particular cliff slash plateau. So that's the only way he can come up.
so are we currently on difficult terrain, would you say?
No, not at all. You're on
Okay.
perfectly regular terrain. Now, if you were fighting on the slope, that would be difficult terrain because
Okay.
it's a bit steep.
I say yeah, stay where we are and we'll holler down to him.
Okay, when do we want to holler down to him? He's currently what?
He's currently 80 feet away.
All right, and
I'll say tag-alongs go prone, so he can't.
I don't understand. Go prone? Why?
Ront, Spiderbait, Fargus, and Sareth should not be in view until
Oh,
we're
to hide
certain
your
he's not
numbers?
hostile. In part, yes.
Okay. Okay. So I'm sorry. One last time, just so I'm perfectly clear. At what distance? Give me an actual foot figure. Like, are you gonna wait until he's 10 feet away, 20 feet away? What?
I don't want to shock him.
Well, I
About
mean, he'll be surprised as anyone would if a sudden voice appears in a room they thought was empty.
yeah, that's true.
Um,
Hmm.
How about 20?
20 feet away sounds fine to me. Does everyone else agree?
Sure.
Okay.
fair
So,
enough. Assuming he doesn't see us before then.
so you everybody waits. The other NPC party members kind of stand back and out of the way, and the figure sort of comes pretty close to the cliff, and then suddenly, starts for a moment. You can see him, from here, and then he kind of looks to the right and looks to his left, and that happens to be where um, the slope going up is, and he kind of starts shuffling over in that direction. The robes are practically like huge on whatever this being is, and the creature is probably between 6 foot and 6'4". Um, like I said, they droop an awful lot, so it's a little hard to get a sense of his exact height underneath all of that. He makes it all the way up to the top of the the plateau, and he starts to look around, and then at that point he's within 20 feet. So the party just says hello. He jumps a little bit and turns in your direction, and then he says, "Oh, I didn't expect anyone to be here. Hello." And he waves. He sort of waves one hooded arm in your direction. You can't see his hand underneath it.
Hmm.
Cool.
Um,
We never thought what to do after that.
Nope.
Yeah, we really.
Can I help you with something? Or
sure.
what?
Oh, I thought you were talking as the DM.
No. I'm sorry.
Screw you then.
No, the traveler. Traveler wants to know. Can I help you with something?
Um,
To tell the honest truth, we hadn't thought this far ahead.
Yeah, I can tell that, but someone's got to come up with something. Somebody's got to start talking.
Mm,
Are you traders? Traders.
We're
Just for us.
minors. We're underage.
Well, I'm sorry.
Uh.
This site is 21 and up. Um,
That's why he's wearing the hood.
If someone's gonna give our origin as escaped slaves of the Drow, it would make sense for somebody other than Taz Roth to be giving that, since he wasn't there.
uh-huh.
Isn't that too much information anyway? I mean, why don't we just say we're...
You guys are actually
Maybe.
at the moment all huddled up, kind of discussing what to say next, and he's kind of like leaning to one side, like, I don't want to cause any trouble if your origins are secret. I'm just responding to a friendly hello.
Yeah, we're just travelers. We're... Oh, shoot, we should have said something about letting him get closer, so then we could have Mushroom Man talk to him.
He's speaking in common, actual common, not undercommon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How close are we to Neverlight Grove?
Oh, that's a good question. I believe that you guys are a good 15 miles off.
Okay. So can we say to him, I don't know, we're looking for a nearby colony of...
Myconids?
No.
You
Talking
could say that.
mushrooms.
We could say that
Yeah,
we've got we're not lying.
that's
Okay.
true. All right.
A nearby colony of myconids.
Oh, you mean the Neverlight Grove? Yeah, I actually stopped by there a day ago. The Myconids were quite hospitable.
You stopped by? How did you find the entrance?
Oh, well, I have talent for finding such things, I suppose you could say.
I see.
But anyways, you're
Let's
headed in the right direction. It's just out that way, and he points in the same direction that Stool, directed you to.
And what's your name?
Oh, thank you so much for asking me that question so I can butcher this. Why, my name is Grazalax.
Grassalax.
Could you
Sorry.
type that out, please?
Oh, okay.
Okay, in the
Ungrateful
chat.
little...
Grazalax.
Yeah, like I said, Chris.
And what's a lone traveler doing out here in the Underdark alone? Repetitive.
There's a pause. I would imagine the same thing a ragtag group of strange creatures is doing out in the Underdark alone.
Right, but isn't it awfully dangerous to travel alone?
Well, I have a plan in the event that trouble comes a knocking. Although I do have to admit it didn't quite work out so well, and I ended up here, so there's that.
Can you tell us where you're heading?
Well, actually, Gracklestug's like that way, right? And he points the direction the caravan came from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, well, I really do need to get along to Gracklestug. I'm kind of concerned about it. You don't happen to have come from there, do you?
We were just there. We're not from there.
What was the mood of the city?
They were quite hospitable.
I will say
Pro cult is the mood.
Is that your actual answer?
uncharacteristically disrupted, I guess.
That is basically what I expected. I hope the armies did not hinder your travel out this far.
Which armies?
The armies of the Deep King of Gracklestu.
Who's that again? I
That
forgot
would
who
be
he was.
the king of Gracklestug, the Eriday's boss.
Deep King.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Hmm.
so I'm headed to Gracklestug because I mean I guess you seem friendly enough. You are very well armed though. Well, anyways, the Deep King, he's declared war on a sect of kobold geologists. And it just I, it's really kind of weird. I I actually have to admit I didn't know that kobolds had geologists. I've never even met one. I've met a lot of kobolds, but I've never met a kobold geologist.
I'm not surprised that they exist. I didn't think there were many.
But that's my point. I mean, even if I give the little critters benefit of the doubt, there can't be more than a handful, and he sent his 3/4 of his armies to go dispatch them as if they're some sort of mortal threat to the realm. It doesn't make any sense. Wow, that has
Uh,
the entire party utterly speechless.
it really does, because I'm thinking now. Crap! Did we leave too soon, and now the king's going to become crazy and
Well, would you like to ask him some questions? He seems amenable.
uh,
What
on the
what's up?
spot?
What's up, Chris?
I mean, I'm all about getting out of here. Number one. The
Yeah,
Underdark, I mean.
yeah. I mean, we can if we can marshal the forces of the, then we'll have a much better chance of uh, stopping Demogorgon in his tracks. But
Oh, right. I guess if Demogorgon comes to the top world, then we're screwed too, huh?
well, yeah. Could someone else interact with this guy? I've had literally like no sleep.
I mean, I'm ready to move to Neverlight.
I'm going to roll insight on the claim of kobold geologists being attacked by 3/4 of the king's army.
You can. However, I would also point out to you that it will be at a higher level of difficulty because he is completely obscured by the robes that he is wearing with the hood on it. So you might want to see if you can at least get a read of his facial expressions as if you want that roll to be easier.
Okay.
What species is he?
Nobody
Well, he's
knows.
not showing us anything.
You haven't seen a single bit of flesh since you encountered him. The arms of the robe are so long, like if you've ever worn one that's too long, you know how it like comes out over the end of your hand. So when he waved at you, you
It's
never even saw his
been a while.
flesh because, yeah.
It's been a while since I've worn something that oversized, but
Well,
Normally,
that's what you've got here.
normally creatures that show up like that in these types of stories are nefarious to some extent, but I'm just
Yeah,
you're
well,
right. How do we get to see his face?
well, let's insight first to make sure he's not.
Well, as our DM just said, you know,
without being able to see his face, it will make it much more difficult to discern whether or not this creature is being truthful.
True.
Because you don't have a sense of, any micro expressions and the information that might give you. You're just going off of his words and the tone of his voice. And based
can
on Taz Roth's role, as far as you can tell, he's telling the truth,
Okay.
or at least
Yeah.
what he believes to be the truth.
It's a really high difficulty, though.
The difficulty is, of course, unknown.
Doesn't Bob have the ability to undetectedly get a sense of something?
What?
Bob on his thoughts or something?
Oh, well, detect thoughts is a spell.
Oh, so he'd know. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be able to see his face if you fed him the embiggen mushroom. He'd have to grow out of those clothes.
Yeah, yeah. That could work, I suppose.
Hmm.
Making unknown people burst out of their clothes.
You could also ask him to remove his hood.
The direct approach again. What is this madness?
You've literally thought through everything but, so.
Um,
Probably a good idea. Maybe, possibly.
you're not kobold, are you? Is anyone kobold?
Technically Tristan is, but as Will is not present.
Damn. Because then we could have like a kobold off or something. I don't know.
Isn't this dude like 6'4"?
Hmm.
Theoretically.
I don't think
Oh, you
kobolds
think
can-
it's 3 kobolds standing one on top of another's shoulders?
The thought crossed my mind.
They want to see a
We're old
movie.
enough to get into a rated R movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Well, we asked him his name, and he provided that. We have not asked him what or who he is, correct?
Yes.
So how about we just kind of introduce ourselves and expect him to reciprocate, what races we are, stuff like
Sure.
that.
So if I interpret your intent correctly,
Mm-hmm.
you'll extend your hand in greeting?
Yes.
Okay. Um, So you extend your hand in greeting and introduce yourself. The creature's voice lightens a little bit. He's been a bit hesitant up until this point because he's not quite sure what to make of you. But the friendly greeting seems to waylay a lot of his concern. And he reaches his hand out, and you have to kind of go into the robe a bit to shake it. And you feel a kind of waxy skin, um, long, slim hands, and he shakes. Um, and he says, "Well, it's actually really quite rare to meet friendly creatures. I have to admit, though, um, I'm a little nervous removing my hood. I don't want anybody to have any sudden reactions to my appearance."
Fair point, but
Have,
we've seen
have,
some shit.
Listen, I just, if my appearance is a problem, I'll be more than happy to just leave you alone. So let's just know that before I lift it up, okay? Everybody brace yourselves.
Okay, appreciate the warning.
And so he reaches up, he peels back his hood, and you are faced with a tall, purple creature with gray eyes and tentacles for a mouth.
Oh,
sounds like a mind flayer.
sure does. Can we roll?
Let's arcane.
Yeah, you want to arcana that.
Yeah.
Chris thinks it's
Taz
an
Roth is
octopus.
dumb.
Ah, Melrath. Yeah, Melrath is the person in the party whose face flashes with recognition. Yeah, that's a mind flayer right there. A particularly friendly one, albeit, which also is extremely unusual for mind flayers. They are actually. Let me go into the DMG. I can read the little entry from the dungeon. No, the monster manual. That's what I want. No, not that one. I want NPCs, alphabetical, M.
I wish I could be a Mind Flayer Druid. That'd be so awesome.
They are a favored race. Mind Flayer. Oh, wait a minute. Here, let me. I have an image now. This is an image. This is not the person you're looking at, but just in case anyone is unfamiliar with them. Mind Flayers are also called Illithids. They are the scourge of sentient creatures across countless worlds. They are psionic tyrants, slavers, and interdimensional voyagers. They are insidious masterminds that harvest entire races for their own twisted ends. Four tentacles snake from their octopus-like heads, flexing in hungry anticipation when sentient creatures come near. In eons past, Illithids controlled empires that spanned many worlds, and they subjugated and consequently warped whole races of humanoid slaves, including the Githyanki, the Githzeri, the Grimlocks, the Kuatoa, and the Darrow. Conjoined by a collective consciousness, the Illithid hatch plots as far-reaching and as evil as their fathomless minds can create. Since the fall of their empires, Illithid collectives on the material plane have generally resided in the Underdark. Um,
I would imagine so.
and then outside of that description, Mind Flayers are most famous for their mastery of magic, their psionic abilities, and the fact that that tentacled mouth that they have, if they lock that onto your head, they can bite through your skull and suck out your brain.
So I take it this is our friend who we've been talking with.
Yes, yes. And
Great.
also, when they do this brain suck thing, they actually sort of lobotomize you and will turn you into a thrall that is slave to their will. Um, and having excised that chunk of their brain, they leave a psionic matrix in place that compels the creature to obey it until its natural death.
Are they evil?
Pretty usually.
I mean, I know they look terrifying, but
uh,
Yeah, there you go.
that outfit suggests otherwise. They're generally known to be lawful evil. However, sincerely, the Mind Flayers are also known for being incredibly arrogant. They consider the quote fall of their empire to be nothing more than a mild setback, and they still are extremely powerful beings in their own right. They still intend to fully reestablish their empire as it once was and enslave the world to their own twisted ends. Um, and yeah, so what I also am trying to convey is that a mind flayer would never politely shake your hand
Hmm.
and warn you about his appearance before removing the hood. He looks kind of worried right now. Nobody needs to make an insight check, but like his tentacles are kind of pulled back, like one might pull back their hands out of terror, and his eyes, can, as near as you can tell, convey very genuine concern right now as he is wildly outnumbered.
We mean you no harm. I mean, you've been polite to us. Yeah. Not all Mind Flayers are bad, just like not all of us are, well, um, what are all of us? I mean, we're a pretty ragtag band, I guess you could say.
Taz Roth is just like, yeah, sure.
Um, so, uh, well, you see, I'm with what I call the Society of Brilliance. Um, we're kind of a ragtag team like yourself, but we've banded together as a sect of highly intelligent monsters, for lack of a better term, to try to solve all of the Underdark's problems. And
What a noble
so,
cause.
yeah, I was with my other companions, Yi the Darrow, Blurg the Orog, Skriz the Troglodyte, and Sloop Edup the Kuatoa Archpriest
you're kidding.
in Blindenstone, or near it, I should say. And that's when we heard about what happened down in Gracklestug, and we decided to split up as there were a bunch of sort of strange reports that fuck, I forgot the name. Slubdildop had been crushed under the foot of a 30-foot tall monster, and
Mhm.
and then Gracklestug is suddenly having problems, and what else could we do? So I was sent to Gracklestug, and I tried to teleport there, and I think I might have overestimated exactly where the Flayers rest lie that day, and I got shunted. Oh, I'm guessing about 60 miles north of the city. I'm lucky I didn't materialize in rock.
So let me get this straight. He's a friendly mind flayer.
Yes, that seems to be the case.
Hmm.
Now, if you'd like to roll some insight checks, no one's stopping you.
That's
I'm
why
doing
we
that.
had him reveal his face.
Eh.
Oh, you asked him to.
Yes.
Yeah, and he willingly did so. Now, I have rolled his secret number. Wow. So I know what his opposed check is. Um, yeah, so now that you can see his face, he actually portrays a lot more emotion than you would expect a race of psionic tyrants to convey facially. Um, it is neither rage nor arrogance, but instead, a significant amount of concern. His body language is quite tense, like he could break and run given a moment's notice. And he's friendly. Um, but he saw the look on Melrath's face, that look of recognition, and a lot of his reaction would indicate he's seen that before.
He just made fun of your outfit.
So we should probably clue him in as to what the hell happened in Sludodop.
Yes.
We were there.
Okay.
I mean, do we have to say it's our fault?
No, we can leave. You can just say what happened. You don't have to. Oh yeah, by the way, it's our fault. We started this.
Well, if it wasn't us, it would have been someone else.
Well, actually, as a reminder, while while we've sort of joked that it was you, the entire ritual was set up prior to your arrival. They were in the
Mhm.
process of doing it anyways. You simply happened to be there when it occurred, and because there was a cool moment where someone flung a fireball at it, I thought I'd just tie that into the start of the ritual. It's not that it wouldn't have happened if Brett hadn't used a fireball.
That
But
was a really good
if you want to
fireball.
blame me, go ahead. Sell me out to the mind flayer. I'll become a thrall.
And then he'll have way cooler adventures. Well, right. So you're gonna tell him about Sloobdildop,
Mhm.
and you're just gonna tell him like the facts of what happened, not your involvement.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, our involvement, like you said, was basically incidental more than anything.
True.
Right, but I want to know what it is that he should know so I can gauge how he reacts.
So we were going to Sloobdudok to help a friend of ours who was trying to enlighten the Kuotoa. It didn't work out, and we wound up almost sacrificed to
Demogorgon.
Demon Gorgon, and somehow the rival cult in the city wound up summoning the Demon Prince himself in the middle of the lake.
And we got
And
out of Dodge. Yes.
we've been running ever since.
Um, you actually didn't know prior to this moment that mind flayers had jaws. You thought their mouth was just the tentacled extrusion, but it turns out they do, and his has just dropped to the cave floor.
No, wait, is that an expression or did it literally fall from his face?
Oh, it's an expression.
Okay.
I was trying to narratively convey absolute shock and awe.
Because he looks terrifying. I don't need any more mental images.
Well, Kyle, he wants to cuddle you in your sleep. And that, when you little spoon, his tentacles will give you a head
Stop.
massage.
Stop.
He has nice fashion sense. I'll give him that.
He does. He is highly fashionable.
Yeah.
And actually, you know what? I have a real picture of him and what he actually looks like. Hang tight for just a
Oh.
second. Images. Well, these aren't maps. Artwork, I think. Nope, that's not it. Is it Out of the Abyss? Portraits. Other.
Although this is probably closely related to what I'm, my patron, right? One of them.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
He has a tentacled face very similar to this.
Pretty terrifying.
Maybe it's character. Yes, it is character. I found it. This is Grazilax.
Oh, be still my beating heart.
um, he's quite skinny. Anyways,
He has kind eyes.
Who cut off his tentacle? Oh,
Huh?
that's sad.
Oh, is it?
no,
Oh,
he
you're right.
lost it. It's been
Oh.
capped. It's
Ooh.
it would be the equivalent of having lost a finger.
Ouch.
Yeah, who cut it off? That's what I want to know.
Oh, well, actually, the other Illithid cut it off. They didn't take awful kindly to me establishing the Society of Brilliance, you see, and yeah, he flicks the tentacle. Um, I miss it, but it is what it is, and I'm honestly much happier feeding on cranium rats at this point.
So it seems you're kind of on the run from your people as well.
Yeah, if they ever catch me, I'm a goner. So, you see, a long time ago, I was with an enclave of Illithids really far from here, and um, I was tasked with processing some of the latest slaves that have been brought in, and there was this Orog, and I don't know if you know what Orog are, so I'm going to bring up because he's going to tell you about it. So I'm looking in the monster manual. Image, no.
So well.
You'll have a sense. He's going to tell you a little bit about them if I can get the search bar to work.
A forbidden love story.
Orog. Wait a minute. Is it O-R-O? There it is. Other images sharing. This is what an Orog looks like. Orogs are orcs blessed with surprisingly keen intellect that ordinary orcs
Huh.
believe is a gift from the orc goddess Luthik. Like Luthik, orcs prefer to live underground, although their scarcity of food often brings them to the surface to hunt. Orcs respect an Orog's strength and cunning, and a lone Orog might command an orc warband.
Hmm.
So while Orogs are, these much smarter, much more capable orcs, but blessed with all the same physical abilities of orcs, which actually makes them moderately challenging foes. So, anyways, that's what an Orog is. Grazilax says, "Well, I met this Orog, and he introduced himself to me as Blurg, and I was setting up to process the slaves, and he started a philosophical conversation with me about the reasonability of enslaving other races.
Hmm.
And I was absolutely stunned as to his insight. Um, he pointed out that he can calculate pi to the 78th digit in his head, and that's exceptional even for an Orog. So we got to talking some more, and I kind of put off the processing of the slaves. And man, he he was really a fascinating fellow, and we actually became close friends. So I hid him away in my dwelling. Uh, I was kind of an upper member of a Lithid society, and I had a large home, and I kept him hidden away there where he wouldn't be eaten by any of the other Lithids. And I actually started just sort of talking to some of the other slaves, and the more that I talked to them, the more it all just felt kind of wrong. The slaves do have an important place in Illithid society. Illithids ourselves are not particularly strong physically, and we do need other races to perform a lot of the functions of our society because we're just too weak to do it ourselves.
Mhm.
But what I had never considered before meeting Blurg was that these other races have value in and of themselves as people. And I started to gather up a number of them, all of those companions that I mentioned to you, a troglodyte, a Darrow, that Kuatoa archpriest. They were all exceptional representations of their races, and I came to realize that if all of the races came together and worked as one, we could actually solve a lot of problems down here that are caused by fear and selfishness. So I figured I might actually stand a better chance with all of them as friends. Well, at this point, I was trying to sneak them out of the city, and I guess the other Illithids caught on to me. It, generally speaking, is difficult to keep secrets from telepathic species. And there was a struggle, and one of them swung a magical sword at my head, meaning to take it off, and they caught this tentacle. And I I seared off the stump, and it serves as a reminder to me of what I've lost, but also what I've gained. I have an understanding that no Illithid before me has had, and as all Illithid, I consider myself to be a shining pinnacle of the race and one of the most intelligent members of its ranks. So I live in hope that I can convince the rest of them to see what I have seen, if they can get past their misconceptions and what society tells them is their role.
Clap, 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 clap.
So much kumbaya bullshit.
That was me out of character, by the way.
That was also me out of character. Wasn't that special?
Yes, yes, indeed.
Um, that was a great story. I'm at loss for words.
So we should.
Oh yeah, we were telling him
How
everything we knew about Slipodop and
Oh,
Brackles
right,
too.
Oh, right, he was horrified. I remember now. So the horror comes from. You mean the Prince Demogorgon is loose on this plane? Um, and you escaped? I mean, I guess it has to be because he didn't see you, but you are remarkably fortunate to have escaped that
he was
creature.
busy rampaging.
Yeah, the fact that demon princes are on the material plane is that hasn't happened in over 10,000 years.
Oh
This is
dear.
like profoundly bad. It's probably going to be an end of the world scenario. Uh, ha. That explains the Deep King's craziness. Um, Listen, I still think I gotta get to Gracklstugh. I might have to make a couple of thralls over there to get some stuff done. Would you terribly mind if you see Blurg letting him know that I'm headed in that direction? He should meet me there, and you know, about the whole end of the world thing. It seems like it's going to be kind of important, and I think the Society of Brilliance needs to step in.
All right, and if you see anyone of the hellish legions, uh, pass on what you've learned and get them to mobilize if you possibly can. The
There was a
blood
bunch of
war.
stuff cutting out. I think you said if you see any of the hellish legions, try to enlist them?
Well, try to tell them about it so that they can mobilize. Because the blood war has been going on between, the Nine Hells and Pan. Taz Roth knows about all this, and he got indoctrinated into that.
I think I understand where you're coming from. There's still a bunch of cutting out, but yes, that's true. Um, okay, I'm with you. Excuse me. So,
Because if the hellish legions can actually slow down the demons, then at least that can buy us time via attrition, or maybe even win.
Yes, however, I do fear that all of the Underdark would be, having them overrun with both devils and demons might turn out to be a bit more than the Underdark can sustain. Because do remember that the legions of evil are endless, like literally endless.
Well, if you get them to this, like I said, it's only a temporary solution. I didn't say it was a good one, but it's the one Taz Roth would think of because that's how.
Okay. Um, it's also 8:59, so I want to
Oh,
be sensitive to time. So since unless there's anything else that you want to ask him briefly before we go, then we'll pick this up here. You'll still have an opportunity to talk to him next week if you think of something between now and then. But again, is there anything else that you guys want to ask him before you go?
can't think of
Three,
anything.
2, 1. Okay, that's it. That's the session. Um,